Hey there, welcome back to the Infinite Mindset Podcast with Aatu, myself, and Jess, as we like his alter ego. With Jeff. Nice to have you guys with us. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Kane, for having us.
If you don't know, Aatu and Jeff are all senior leaders in Industry Rockstar. We are, in charge of different divisions and things. So we like to get together and have these conversations about where things are heading with AI technology and innovation. That's what we're doing here today. And we're going to discuss today about how AI is affecting cognitive abilities for human beings.
Are they getting stupider or smarter?
There you go. That's the dumbed down version. Thank you. So we're going to be talking today about what some of the reports are finding and what do we really think is happening. Because although, we hear different reports of things and we have to respect them, Deloitte and MIT and all that stuff, they always are brilliant labs and doing great stuff. I feel like we're having a little bit of a different experience. But most importantly, there's an interesting emergence of how to use AI to make sure you're sort of on the right side of continuing to enhance your cognitive capabilities. So let me throw it over to you guys. First of all, we're all using AI extensively in different areas, from creative to content to infrastructure, business, productivity, legal, just all over the place. And we've been using it for years. We've probably been using it we've been using it really for 10 years plus in machine learning algorithm stuff online. And then we've been using it, maybe really extensively since it's come out. What do you guys think? Do you guys think you're smarter or dumber?
So I think it depends completely on how you use it.
Well, let me see.
Yeah, I had this experience when I came here to US this time, and I was in a hotel room on the second day, and I was working on a laptop all day, so I was using AI all the time for everything on a laptop. And then I went to shower in the evening. I was so used to use AI that I asked ChatGPT, like, hey, which way the faucet turns to get hot water in the US? I could just try. I just tried the faucet and worked that way. But
yeah.
I mean, if you start using it for everything like that, it certainly dumps you down.
Well, and so what is dumbing you down? Because so think about this, and this is one of the points. So I have a 16-year-old son, and he's actively in this conversation in a school because he's in an accelerated business-oriented trade school where they want him to be using new technologies, but they're also wanting them to learn. So there's this interesting dichotomy about whether it makes you dumber. But the question is did the calculator make us dumber? I mean, did we get dumber because we had a calculator?
Probably not. Again, it's like a part of the solution always, right? But when you ask everything from the AI, live your life through it, I think at some point you stop collecting that information anymore, and then you're just completely addicted to your AI.
So I agree with him. Actually, it seems like when it crosses the threshold of becoming where it's no longer a tool, it's a master. It's just a tool, but when it becomes a master, it becomes challenging. Mm-hmm. So if at that moment you go, which way do I turn the shower? Maybe it's crossed that threshold. So then Aatu knew back off. Like, hey, but some people don't know.
Well, and maybe some people don't feel. So first of all, there's a couple things to consider here. One is let's assume that we're working with something that has a higher IQ than all of us, or even all of us put together, and soon we will. We'll have AGI, and we will have this intelligence of the entire human race in one handheld device. Okay, so how is it making us dumber? How could being around? I mean, if the entire concept of education, school, mentoring, advising, and all that was to work with people smarter than ourselves, hire them. What is really making us dumber? Is it having the power and the access to the intelligence, or something else?
It's something else. See, there's cleverness. People can be clever but have no wisdom, and you can have a lot of wisdom but not be clever. So there's this whole world that I guess you could call it in a simplification world is street smarts. If somebody is very clever with AI but have no wisdom, then ultimately they can get hurt. So I think what is wisdom? That's a whole other conversation.
But so are you saying that AI is holding the wisdom or the cleverness, or both?
I think AI actually is extremely clever. I don't know if I don't think it has wisdom. Wisdom is knowledge that's done through experience. I think it's extremely clever.
Isn't wisdom just like statistical cleverness? Like you know statistics of a long time, and then you can apply that into your choices.
I would consider that. I would consider that actually knowledge, but not wisdom. Wisdom is knowing.
Wow, so now we got clever, knowledge, and wisdom. Lots of distinctions.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, let's go. That's clever. That's clever. That's
very clever, Jeff.
That's just. Well, maybe I spent too much time on AI.
Well, it's interesting. So if we categorize clever as having sort of interesting things to say, knowledge is like a collection of cleverness, and wisdom as a collection of knowledge plus experience.
it's if somebody spends all day on AI, talking to AI, and never talks to a human being, they might know how to talk to AI, but they can't talk to a human being.
Sure, and if that's a valued skill set, then absolutely.
But if it's not, then
exactly,
maybe it doesn't matter.
So the question that I always have for these teachers that say to our kids, you should or you shouldn't do something or with this stuff, and I am a proponent for us developing our human intelligence, but the question I have is isn't intelligence been based upon survival? And so we've become intelligent based upon what we need to survive. Why would somebody become more intelligent than somebody else? Well, typically you were rewarded. Right, so a company's success was typically based upon how much intelligence they actually had. If you had a more intelligent team, if you had a bunch of Harvard MBAs and Stanford PhDs, you probably outperformed your competitors because you had better intelligence making better decisions. But if there's no more reward for being more intelligent, is it actually important to be intelligent, or is it important to understand how to use the system? Isn't that what we've always done? We just have a new set of technologies, and now we've arrived at a certain place, and now we're moving in a different place for intelligence, and that's scaring traditional people to say, hey,
So if what you want to do is just to use the system, then of course probably AI will make you smarter in every way, but you need something social intelligence, for example, or what they call street smart. And I think AI might not help you in that, at least yet. It's too slow. The bandwidth with your thumbs is too slow to use in social situations. So how to lead people, for example, might be a bit complex if you rely only on AI.
Well, real time. So anything that's a real time intelligence, right? And you bring up a really good point because there's different types of intelligence. So Howard Gardner, a Harvard professor, actually noted that there were multiple different intelligences that we often think reading and math are the two big intelligence. There's actually, I think he had 12 on his initial. I think it's been expanded to 16. Some people think up to 22. But basically, we've got somatic intelligence. We've got language, word intelligence. We've got musical intelligence. All these different intelligence, right? So maybe there's this essence now of like social EQ. Which is not to say a new concept, but maybe the idea of that is that that's an intelligence that actually will not work really well or get developed with AI.
Although it's probably gonna come, like real-time stuff is getting there, especially with the chips now in people's heads and stuff.
Yeah, or even just glasses, right? You just using glasses. I mean, could have a little glass with a little earpiece, and you could be talking to someone at a party, and it can say, sounds like
suddenly
bullshit,
you can
run.
seem really intelligent if you have the glasses on, and suddenly and then you have all the data right there. You can seem intelligent.
Even what we're developing, like when social interactions happen in Zoom or like video calls, then you can of course use a bunch of tools to like analyze what the other person is saying and what to respond to that, etc. So
yeah, well, but think about this, like the difference in the music industry. Does anybody really care now that artists and singers? Typically, if you stripped everything away, I mean, you ever listen to a singer completely without any technology? Many of them that we revere are pretty bad or pretty mediocre, right? And then, in fact, then there's all, but people don't care. So do they care if also you're incredibly smart and incredible leader because AI is guiding you and telling you what to do? And if so, why is that a double standard? If everybody's so cranky about people using AI losing their intelligence, and that we're not willing to accept that they just basically have to use AI to achieve a certain professional level of intelligence, why do we care that singers are basically all using autotune to sound like professional singers?
Well, I guess it comes to the point that Jeff made, like, is it a master or a tool? Like, if you completely rely on AI and everything, like, what are you anymore? You're just a face for the AI. And
just like our entertainers.
Yeah,
they're just a look. They're just which is a whole different thing. But so I want to go back to this point real quickly. Is what are we really delegating? Because look, humans have been innovating for thousands of years, right? And every time we've innovated, first of all, every time we've innovated, there's been resistance, there's been concern. We always are called lazier. Our grandparents called their parents lazy. Our parents called us lazy. We call our kids lazy. Like it's like that's just kind of the consistent evolution. And now we're in a very like hyper interesting, hyper intelligent one, where it was okay. We don't need to walk anymore. We've got horse-drawn carriages. It's suddenly you didn't need to walk anymore. So you got the benefits and the downsides of it. The benefit was you could go a lot further. The downside is you were now sitting around a lot more and you weren't using your body as physically anymore. When we went from farming and actually pulling things in the fields to farming equipment, positives and negatives. Positives, we could mass produce food. Negatives was you were now probably getting fatter sitting on your tractor driving around or whatever you did.
The big difference to that is that it just happens so fast and in such a massive scale that when the negative impacts are gonna hit us, it might be too late. I mean, we don't know. We don't really know.
Yeah,
what's
I agree
happen.
with Aatu. It's happening so quickly. We've had time to adopt those changes. I don't know if we have the time to adopt these changes. Humans don't change they don't like change that quickly, and it's happening whether we like it or not.
Well, so that's it. That's an interesting one to understand, is how fast the industrial revolutions happened. I think they happened relatively fast. Now, this is certainly happening faster because it's distributed digitally and it's all over the world.
Yeah.
So it's not like a culture. I mean, even if we look at civilizations, like when we study civilizations, we say, oh, this civilization had mathematics and therefore they got really advanced, whereas the other ones didn't have it. So they were very antiquated. Where this civilization, well, now every civilization's got AI in a split second. So
any language.
Yeah, absolutely. But let's go back to this. So there's a recent MIT report that came out that showed that people that were using ChatGPT were using less neural activity. Right? They were using ChatGPT for everything, reducing their neural activity. So let's look at the other side of it. So I actually disagree. I actually think that using AI has helped the people around me that I see and interact with and work with, kids and friends and colleagues, that we've actually gotten sharper, smarter, and more interesting, more creative. Like, I've actually seen it raise our capabilities.
I've seen it enhance. I've actually seen it enhance whatever they have, as long as they wrestle with the concept beforehand and then use AI to help accelerate the wrestling.
Okay, so let's identify a couple of things here that actually are the key elements that if we outsource it to ChatGPT or to AI.
The wrestling concept of thinking, yeah.
Yeah, so what are those concepts? So wrestling, like, what do you mean by wrestling? Tell me a little bit more about wrestling.
Well, let's say I'm trying to come up with a topic to talk about, and I might put it out there and ask myself a couple questions and wrestle with, what do you think? What about this? What about that? And then maybe even chat with you guys for a few minutes about it, and then go, okay, let's collaborate. Now bring in AI and collaborate. And what would have taken us 5 minutes to come up with a subject matter takes us 30 seconds. Or what would have taken a week to get creative would only takes 5 minutes.
Okay. So I'm going to put that into something that I think is actionable. I've said to my son, which is use LLMs for only one part of the process at a time. In other words, I think what causes a reduction in neural activity is outsourcing the entire decision-making process. If you think about anything that you have to decide, you have to go through multiple decision-making steps and doorways. A little bit like you open a door, then there's 5 doors behind it. Then you open another door, and there's 10 doors behind it. You open another, like, you got to kind of keep choosing the doors you're going through and everything that you're doing, right?
Yeah.
So what I've said to my son, which I'm just curious to hear you guys, is that I said, just use it for one thing as a springboard, and then you then need to think from there until maybe you get stuck or stopped, not because you give up, but because you feel like you've exhausted everything that you can actually be mentally thinking about.
At least use it so that you're aware of what's happening with the process, like where it is. If you don't, then at some point you might not, you fall off the wagon, like you don't know anymore what the AI is doing necessarily, how to get up here. If you need to redo something, for example, or go back somewhere, no idea what was the process like.
So here's another one. Maybe you have an intention to learn from AI. If you go into it and you say, look, obviously this thing is super brilliant and bright and has great pattern recognition and everything, why not learn from it? So when you ask it to give you something, then ask it to break down the process. How did you come up with that? What did you think about? Help me understand that so that I can actually be smarter. So in other words, you're using it as a learning tool where it's not you want to just continue to outsource. You actually want to become independent of it over time. Or you want to be able to do less and less with it over time. Or do more and more sophisticated things so that you continue to keep challenging yourself to have to think more and more sophisticatedly.
And prompting it smartly is the essence. Like, challenging yourself, it doesn't do that unless you prompt it to do that. Right, so otherwise it just agrees with you on everything, and your ideas.
And it tells you how great you are.
Yeah. Like that's fantastic.
And it knows how to speak to men, doesn't it?
Yeah,
absolutely brilliant. Everything you just said was
that was a great idea.
Obviously, this is coming from somebody. It reminds me of that scene from Pretty Woman when Richard Gere is in the shopping center with Julia Roberts. I don't know if you guys remember that scene. I love that scene where she had been earlier dissed by this store. They didn't think she was wealthy enough to be in there. He comes back with his suit and his checkbook and everything, and he wants them to start getting her dressed. And they said, "Sir, is there anything else we can do right now?" He says, "Yes, more compliments." And he says, "Absolutely. Not only, sir, can I see you're a very intelligent man, but you're also a very hardworking man." He goes, "No, I don't mean me. I mean her."
It's so true.
That's what ChatGPT is. Obviously, you're a distinguished, intelligent person for asking that question. It's a great question.
Yeah. There's been some news lately about people using ChatGPT as a therapist.
Yeah.
And the problem with that has been that they found out something. Okay, I remember somebody was going that saying that, hey, my therapist is hitting on me. That's inappropriate. And actually that was not the case. What was happening? But the information was given to AI like this. So the AI started telling this story and go deeper and deeper and deeper in that story. And the person who was using ChatGPT as a therapist also got deeper and deeper in that story until it became very psychotic.
Wow.
So if there's no like at no point there's nothing that challenges your beliefs or it just reinforces them.
Yeah.
Then you won't become more intelligent through AI. I think you just go deep in some rabbit hole.
All right. So it sounds like the goal here is to first of all use it to challenge your thinking, have an intention to learn from it. Only use it in certain particular steps of the equation. Let's not outsourcing our decision making. Let's maybe use it as a creative partner, like you would, a business partner or something like that, versus outsourcing your human value to it. And look to create more for yourself. So
100%.
Cool. All right, gentlemen. Thanks. Great discussion. Good to see you guys again. Thanks for joining us here at the Infinite Mindset Podcast. We'll see you on the next one.